want to talk about something today. In fact, we may start honing in on this a little bit more. We started Midtown when we brought Sam and Rachel on board. We really started pushing this vision of being a family, being together, being part of each other's lives, and we just trying to figure out, what is the best way of doing that in an environment like this, in a world that is really busy. I mean, I think out of all people, we understand. I think just about everybody on staff at Midtown, every leader is bivocational. I mean, the one thing we do understand is being busy. We're just asking questions. How do we connect to one another with purpose, with intent, and yet still respect the idea that we've got lives to lead and whatnot. And there's plenty of practical solutions that we can do, but what it really boils down to is just a desire, a passion to want to go deep with each other. And I say deep, I don't mean we need to sit here, look each other in the eyes and start talking about our deepest, darkest emotions, but a deepness that is stirred by care and compassion for what one another is going through. And it's really heavy on me, my heart, my mind this week, because I know a lot of you are feeling alone. I know a lot of you are feeling as if, not that, I don't think it's that nobody cares, but maybe it is better put that nobody understands. It's one of probably the biggest mental obstacles that I have is wanting to make sure you belong and you're loved, and helping lead a church family and healthy ways to stir relationships, while also being a bivocational pastor and respecting the time with my family. It keeps me up at night. And I know there are some of you out there right now that don't have kids running around your living room. You're watching this by yourself. It's interesting. The word alone or lonely has the word one in it, and it's very fitting, because when you're alone and you feel lonely, you feel like you are the only one who understands what you're going through. And I don't think anybody can truly understand where you're at emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Even if we wanted to and we tried, your story is so unique and so special to you. God has written it for you and you alone, and no one else is designed to walk in your shoes. But we can sure try. But I do know that just being human, we all have very similar struggles. We all struggle with feeling lonely. I'm personally a guy who does well by myself. In fact, it seems like my alone time is important to me. But even a guy like myself, there comes a point where I'm hungry for relationships. I'm hungry for someone to call and just say, hey man, how you doing? And I've got those people in my life. Don't get me wrong. I've got some really good friends and really good family that do call just to say hi. They're not calling because they just want something. And I know for you, you have that same hunger, but no one can truly walk in your shoes. And that makes it a little bit more difficult, especially if you're by yourself. But it's interesting, the feeling and the emotions of loneliness actually can stir up in the largest of crowds. You can feel alone and by yourself, and as if you're the only one there in the midst of thousands of people. it actually may even exasperate the lonely feelings when there are those around you, but no one's asking you how you're doing. No one's asking you, hey, what's going on in your life? What keeps you up at night? How are your finances? How's your health doing? When we don't have those people in our lives, but yet we can visibly see them, and they maybe they sit in our living rooms, maybe they are our Facebook friends or our coworkers, but they're just not digging into your life, and seems like they don't care. I don't know if we would take it that far. That can exasperate the feelings of loneliness. But just to be honest, they're probably going through their stuff also. They're probably feeling levels of loneliness too. And that's the problem with the feelings of loneliness, of being alone, is that you think you're the only one going through it. And no one blames you. And no one blames you for it. I mean, no one, it's just the way loneliness is. It's just, you feel as if no one gets it. And yet, the person next to you probably has similar feelings. And the person next to him, and the person next to her, and the person, and so on and so forth. And it's, so it keeps me up at night. I mean, not all nights, don't get me wrong, but it does keep me up. It does weigh heavy on my mind. How do we do this in a church that's small, and now a church that is geographically divided? How do we stay connected? And when we come back together as a church, what can we do better? I mean, what can we do to really invest in one another? Matthew talks a lot about the kingdom of heaven. And the kingdom of heaven, as Matthew and as Jesus refers to it, is the kingdom of God as it's on earth. I think it's the family of God as it's found on this earth. We're going to go to Psalm 139. Psalm 139 goes directly to the heart of loneliness. We're going to look at verse 1 through 12 today, and then next week we'll look at the remainder of it. David, it's interesting. You can read Psalm 139 through two different lenses. You could read it through the lens of, oh, search me, God, and find out all the wrong I've done. You could read it through that lens, like God knows all my sin, and God knows all my wrongdoings and my disobedience. Well, yeah, it does. But it's easy to read it. But that's not what Psalm 139 is about. I think what David's going through in Psalm 139, he's going through a very lonely spell in life. The king of Israel, one of the most important men who ever walked this earth, is going through loneliness. And he records some words for us that are really, really good. In other words, his words basically say, God's already walked your path. God's already paved out your journey. He's went ahead of you. He searched it out. He knows all the twists, the turns. He knows the emotional ups and downs, because he's gone out there and he's searched your future. And he's come back to you, and now he's walking with you through it. I remember at Teen Missions, my first time at Teen Missions, I think one of my most loneliest times that I can recall. I was probably 11, 12 years old when I was at a preteen trip. My parents dropped me off, and I was so excited to be there. But about a week into it, we're sleeping in the woods of Merritt Island. I've got some friends, about 30 of us there, and my parents came and saw me. And I remember sitting under the big tent during one of the nightly worship times, and they were there. They were just chatting. It was just so good to see my family, my brothers, my mom, my dad. But I remember when they had to leave, and I knew I had 4 more weeks of being without them. I think the hardest time of that period wasn't the time when they were gone. It was the time I was watching them leave. and I knew what lied ahead was a season that I would be without the ones who loved me the most. And yeah, right after they left, I just I just sat there and I just kind of dealt with my thoughts of, do I really want to be here? Do I really want to be in this place with these mosquitoes? Got tons of friends around me, but I just wanted to be with my family. Just wanted to be home. And it was a tough time, and God brought me through it. I mean, as 11, 12-year old, you don't your family is pretty much all you have. And when they, not in a hateful way, but when they walk away from you to go back home and leave you in the woods, in the swamps of Florida to fend for yourself, it's a tough feeling. It really is. So Psalm 139, God knows these lonely feelings. Verse 1 through verse 3, O Lord, you have searched me and known me. I want you to hear how many times he uses the word know. I mean, that word, he searched me. Oh Lord, you have searched me and known me. It means he's explored you. He's examined you. There's nothing about you that he does not know. Oh Lord, you have explored me. You have searched me. You have known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. It's interesting how he begins to frame this. He uses this idea often. Sit down, rise up. Okay, so the Lord is with me when I sit down. He knows when I'm going to sit down, and he knows when I'm going to rise up. When I sit down to eat dinner, I sit down to get ready for bed, I sit down to go to work, I rise up to go to my next job, I rise up to go somewhere else. And he knows that. He knows all the decisions that I'm going to make in life that are going to lead me to sit down and rise up. Because the Lord, he's explored you. He's searched you. He's very intimate with all of your ways. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search out my path and my lying down. Verse 3. Verse 3, you search. That word is like, it means to frame. So it's not, this one isn't explored. He's framed out your path and your lying down. So God has not only explored you, he's actually framed out your path. He has designed your journey that lies ahead of you. The times you get up, the times you lie down, the Lord's framed this out, and he has perfectly aligned all of it so that you can do these things. You are acquainted, you are familiar with all my ways. So there's not a moment in your day that the Lord doesn't know about. There's not a moment in your day that the Lord hasn't crafted, he hasn't put together for you. God doesn't wear your shoes. He's designed them for you to wear. God isn't the one that's gonna, I know we want people to try on our shoes, figuratively speaking, and walk in our shoes. But the Lord hasn't made your shoes for someone else to wear. He's made them just for you. And then he's paved the path for those shoes to walk on. The good, the ugly, the bad, the painful, the joyful. Your journey is crafted and framed out by God for you to walk. Verse 4, even before a word is on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it all together. So the Lord knows what words will come out of my mouth here in 5 seconds. There's nothing I can do, and there's nothing you can do that's going to be outside of God's purview. He's watching over you. He knows exactly what you will say, where you will say it, when you will say it tomorrow. For whatever reason, the Lord has decided to bless my business during these rough times, and it seems like the work is just coming in faster than I can do it right now. And And we've got to operate our business with the utmost care, given that we're going out and about, and we really do everything we can to respect people's safe space and all that. So I've been coming home later. It seems like I'm putting in 12-hour days on a regular basis right now, and I come home and I'm just I'm just zapped. I'm just worn out. So I come in, I walk into the door, and I sit down in the office, and I usually chat with Becca for a few minutes about the day. And as I sit down, I slowly just start to fade away into want to sleep or just not get up. And I'm usually hungry. I don't typically eat lunch, maybe a cheese stick or something during lunch. So I come home, I'm tired and I'm hungry. And my boy is 2 years old. My boy understands something about me. I didn't realize he understands. So after my kids go to bed, what I will do is I'll go into the pantry quietly, open up the box of cookies, and eat cookies. But my kids have caught on, and I didn't realize they've caught on. So Connor apparently knew that I liked cookies and knew where they were, because I come home one day and I'm sitting in the office, and Connor, he's rustling around in the kitchen area. No, I don't know what he's doing. I don't really pay much attention until he walks in with a big chocolate chip cookie. And he says, "Daddy, cookie." And I said, oh my goodness, my boy really loves me. The tears forming in my eye. Becca, my wife, his mom, is starting to tear up. Oh, that boy is so good. He's so awesome. He loves his daddy so much. He knows just what his daddy needs. And so, yes, I'm going to eat the cookie. I don't have dinner yet, and it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter what mom says. I'm eating the cookie. My 2-year-old boy brings me a cookie, sees that I'm hungry, and wants to take care of his dad, And so I'm feeling like a really good dad. Mom's feeling like a really good mom. We've done something right with this boy. And just really proud moment, man. My boy knows me intimately. He knows when I'm hungry. He knows when I need a cookie. And, so Connor walks out, and I'm just talking to Becca, how awesome parents we are. We're really rock star parents, and we've really done something right. And just the best. And Connor walks back in with another cookie. And Connor goes, "Connor cookie? Me cookie?" Oh. Well, he walked right past mom, right to me, because he knew what he was doing. And, yeah, okay, Connor, yeah, you can have that cookie. I can't say no now. I mean, I'm busy chomping on my cookie, thinking how good of a kid you are. What am I going to do? The kid, he knew exactly how to get a cookie, and he played me like a fiddle. That kid tricked me. And, yeah, I mean, I'm going to get him back. I mean, I guess you got to figure this out. But that was the last cookie, and I think Connor knew it. We only had 2 cookies left. He wanted one of them, and the only way for him to get one, he knew, was to give Daddy the first one. And was to give Daddy the one and butter Daddy up, let it sit for a moment, and then walk in and say, "Me cookie?" And unfortunately, there are no more cookies at the store. Not these kind. Oh, don't worry, though. I'm thinking on it. I'm going to get them. The Lord knows you. Altogether, He knows everything about you. He knows how you work better than my boy knows how I work. And it's a satisfying feeling. Verse 5. You hem me in, behind and before. Behind and before. So you know my past, you know my lying down, you know when I sit down, you know when I rise up. You hem me in, behind and before. You see what David is getting at? What God is getting at? That God has been there before you've ever been there. He's searched out your past, and he's designed it all perfectly for you. You hem me in. That word is to tuck in. I tuck my kids into bed, and I wrap the blankets around them. I make them feel comfortable. I give them a kiss on the cheek at night. I tell them they're loved. I want them to go to bed knowing that they are safe, secure, comfortable, and they are loved. God tucks you in behind and before. Your life is perfectly oriented for God. You lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge, it's too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain it. Verse 7, well, where should I go from your spirit? That word spirit, his breath, his wind. You can't escape the wind. It's all around you. It's cloaked you in. It's tucked you in. The wind, the air is all around. That is essentially, just think about that as God. God is all around you. Where shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. That word Sheol, just think death, essentially. If I'm dead in the grave, you are there. If I'm in the heavens, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me. Your right hand shall hold me. He's there. I was making a decision this week with my business to buy another piece of equipment that I really need, but it was a big scary decision, especially in a time like now. And the older I've gotten, the more I weigh risks in my decisions. When I was younger, the risks weren't there, and it seems like the older I get, the more fearful I become in decisions, because I can see the consequences of buying a piece of machinery in a time like this, work drying up, and the mind just goes crazy, right? You probably experienced this. Your mind just goes crazy with all the what ifs and the fears that, like, what if I don't know, if I go bankrupt, I can't feed my family, and blah blah blah. And well, as I was thinking through this, I realized Psalm 139. No matter what decision I make, God's already been there. He already knows the decision. And he's already worked out the details of the decision. So I cannot fail in my decision. If I choose to buy it, if I don't choose to buy it, God's already worked it out. I just need to follow my heart. I need to follow the passions that God has put in me. And then for good or for worse, it's all for my good. And I realize this as I'm thinking through this, that even if my decision leads to financial ruin, which I don't think God will lead me down that, but if it did, even that, God has walked before me in it. And he knows it. And he will be with me in it. If you've got this scary decision that you've got to make, just know this. This helped me out, actually, a lot. God's already been. He knows the decision you're going to make. You might as well just make it. And he's already walked that path of what that decision is going to work out. And now he comes back to you after going out into the future, comes back to you, puts his right hand on you, and he says, you got this, man. We're going to be in this together. You don't know the outcome, God does. So just do it. Go take a step of faith and just go for it. It helped me out a lot. Verse 11, if I say, surely the darkness shall not cover me, and the light is about me bright, and the light about me be night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is bright as the day, for darkness is as light with you. So, even in darkness, well, there's no, what David's trying to say is, like, in God's world, darkness doesn't exist. The sun might set, but there's no darkness. I want you to think about it like this. What does darkness do? What does darkness do? I can't say what is the purpose of darkness, but what does darkness do? A lot of people think that darkness is referring to sin, and it's not really like the sun is setting. I don't know if I'd take this metaphorically. I think David's truly saying, hey, even in dark places where the light's out, you see right through that. But darkness hides things. When the light is taken out of an environment, things are concealed. So you don't know what's in that environment. You could say that the environment is lying to you. If you turn off the lights, you cannot see what's in that room. You're being lied to by the darkness because you don't know what's in that room. But you turn the light on and all of a sudden you realize what is true. There's a couch, there's a TV, there's this, there's that. So truth is light. Truth is the opposite of darkness. And God is light. In fact, what Jesus is, what? The way. He is the way. He's paved the way. He's the truth. There is no darkness in truth. Truth doesn't cover up anything. It unveils everything. And he's the light. Those three things are really synonymous in the end. You want the person to be the way, also to be the truth and be the light. You don't want anything hidden. And so God, darkness, it's just not in this world. It just doesn't exist because there is no deception. There is no lying. There is no covering up. God is truth. And honestly, it's just, it's a good reminder for me. I mean, live in what is true and you're living in the light. You're not living in darkness. So even darkness you can't hide from God, even in darkness. And if you want to take it metaphorically, and it's like if you're lying or if you're sinning, if you want to take it literally, that even when the lights are off, God is there. But the point is this: you are not alone. You really aren't. And I get the fact that it may feel like that at times. And maybe you're in a season of feeling lonely. And those feelings are real to you, and they are real. And in this world, yeah, I guess it can feel like you're alone. But the reality is this, is God is real. Jesus is real. The Spirit is real. They are reality. And he's not just with you, but he's gone out 5 seconds ahead of you, 10 seconds ahead of you, 5 days, 10 days, 5 years ahead of you. And he's prepared everything. I'm walking through my house. I'll wrap up with this thought and then pray for y'all. At night, I walk through the house and Connor's Legos are everywhere. And I'm going to get my cookie, my nightly midnight cookie. Not my 1 o'clock at night cookie. This is my midnight cookie. And it's like dodging a minefield of Legos. And I step on the Legos. I can't see it. The next one. But don't worry. I get to my cookie. It doesn't matter the pain I've got to go through. In fact, maybe Connor's laying out these Legos to stop me from getting the last cookie. See, I'm thinking on this. Great. I lost my train of thought. So God, it's like if I'm going out to get my midnight cookie and there's all these Legos. So God's gone ahead, and I would love to think he's moved those Legos so I'm not walking on them anymore. But what Psalm 139 is saying, he's gone ahead and he knows all the Legos that are on the floor. Now he's walking with you through that Lego minefield. He knows exactly what you are about to go through. Not that he's prepared the way and vacuumed the carpets for you to walk it. He's gone out and he knows the trial you're about to go through. And then he says his right hand is on you. Let's do this together. I know how rough it's going to be. You're not alone. The lonely feeling is a lie. What is real, you can't trust your eyes. You just can't trust what you see visibly in this world. Yet the people around you, they are going through a lot also. So you have to know that God is with you. And let that begin to be what heals you. And then give it to God, and I'm sure someone will begin to step in, because God oftentimes works through his people. I'm going to pray that someone steps into your life and maybe literally lays a hand on you, and that will be your trigger to remember what you learned today. God is with you in all of this. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this morning. I just ask that you be with my church family. Remind us of these truths, that you are with us. You've gone before us. You haven't paved the way, you have walked the way. And you've done this with your Son. Your Son has truly walked the way for us. He did pave the way to you. That is only, all we need is faith, and we can come to you. But Psalm 139 shows us that you come to us even in our darkest moments. So I ask that you just remind the church family of this. Be with us this week. Bring us back together real soon. We love you, Father. In your Son's name, amen.